Welcome to the RIP 28 podcast. It's a spot where men can talk about men things. It's a spot where we can be a little bit righteous and then a little bit ratchet here at the RIP 28 podcast. I am your host for today. This is episode number two. I am your host, Sylvester Williams. I'm joined today by a couple of my brothers. I've known for a long time. We want to start off at the top corner. We'll start off James is the father of three girls. He is a firefighter out here saving lives, putting fires, and taking naps during the day. James Ashford. On the other side, we got my man LeBron Brown. It looked like we got a lot of echo in the back. Somebody microphone it. But anyway, we got LeBron in the background. LeBron, father of three. He's a father of two little girls and one boy. That's LeBron Brown, head basketball coach, also an educator in South Carolina. And on the other side, we got Dr. J, the original Dr. J, Juwan. Juwan is the father of three young girls, three baby girls. That's Juwan, a nuclear scientist. I think that's what he does. He's something real smart. He got a couple of degrees and does a couple of different things. And last but not least, I don't know where he went to, was the last father. The last father, he has two girls and one boy. As a matter of fact, one daughter just graduated from high school. Want to give a big shout out to Cheyenne. Graduated. She's headed to Tennessee State to further her academic career. How you fellas doing out there today?
Doing pretty well, Mr. Sly.
Yes, sir. Doing good. How about yourself?
Man, I am doing great. I'm glad to have you brothers here. Glad to be able to talk to you brothers today. Now, for our listeners out there, maybe you notice one common theme that's been said during this entire open statement. We were talking about the girls. We were talking about daughters, fathers, father and daughters. Now, me, myself, I'm a father, but I only have one son. So I want to ask my brothers and talk to my brothers and get a better understanding of raising girls in this new millennium, in this world, and how do these brothers, how do these highly intelligent and great all-around brothers go around raising daughters? And I don't know who that is in the background giving me all the static, but we got to figure him out. But anyway, first thing we want to talk about, now all us are raised by fathers with fathers in the home, you know, and we were all raised by manly men, who were tough on us. Sometimes you had to throw a little elbow on our chest. I know a couple of us caught the elbow or caught a fist in the chest every once in a while. But my question is, how do you brothers, how do you go about, I know when you got daughters, you're a little bit hesitant to discipline your baby girls. How do you go about disciplining your baby girls? We'll start off with James, man. How you go about taking care of that?
Oh, man. It's a thin line, man. When you got three girls like me, I mean, you still want to be stern, but you love your babies. All of them are your babies. They different than boys, I'm going to tell you that. With a boy, you could probably beat them up and, you know, do anything that you want. But with a girl, I mean, it hurts you to your heart to see your baby cry. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to, it's just hard, man. I mean, I still try to be stern with them, but still want to show that love. You know what I'm saying? You got to show that love to your daughter.
All right, now we go on the other side, a little bit of a different viewpoint. We'll go to LeBron. Now, LeBron has two girls, but technically what the world will call them stepdaughters. But to be honest, the way we feel, if he feeding them, they his. I'm pretty sure that's how he feel. He feeding them, so they mine. So now how do you go about discipline when you know, technically, by nature, you aren't the dad, but by nurture, you are the dad?
It's like James said, it's a fine line, but it's an even finer line with me, being that they're not my biological daughters. I've never physically disciplined them. I always leave it to their mother. I speak to them with a firm voice, letting them know what I expect and what I will and won't tolerate. But for the they are great girls, and I hadn't had a chance to have to physically discipline them. I think my voice is strong enough that they respect that, and I get the response that I need.
Okay. Now we'll go over to Juwan. Now Juwan actually has 3 girls, and I think he has the youngest age range of the daughters. So how do you go about handling your disciplinary actions, Juwan?
Yeah, I got an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 4-year-old, about to be 5. So it's different in my household, man. But just like LeBron said, it's hard to, and James also. I hadn't had to physically beat them. You know, when they're little babies, I might give them a little pop. But I think just me being a man in the house and my voice being different than my wife, and because of the age they are right now, it's all I gotta do is really speak with a stern voice, and they kind of get in line. My wife can tell them to do something, and they might not do it. But when I step in there and I just say, "Hey, look, what you supposed to be doing? Go do it." And just because I take a sterner approach, they kind of fall in line. So, but at the same point, speaking like that, you still don't want your daughters to be fearful of you, because you still want them to later on as they grow up to be able to talk to you. And so I kind of try and balance that. But you know, at some point, I do make the boys stern, but I hadn't had to beat them or discipline them in that fashion. So.
All right. Now we won't finish up with Chance. Now Chance will bring another, a different perspective, because like we said earlier, Chance's daughter, shout out to Cheyenne, she just graduated, and she's about to go to college, be a freshman in college. So when it comes to that discipline area, Chance he's been through the whole, well, not the whole factor, but he's been through most of it, from a baby all the way up to a senior in high school. So how do you go about, discipline with your child?
All right, I'll put it like this, man. Like when they were younger, I gave them spanking just like giving them boys spankings. In the early stages of childhood, boys and girls aren't very different. But I say around 10 or 11, kind of have to back off of that type of discipline and be more mental in your approach. Kind of like Juwan was talking about, you don't want them to be scared of you, and you don't want to set an example of a man, beating on a woman and stuff like that either. But I think the way I do the discipline, I say the advancements in technology, and they really helped us out a lot. I mean, the phones are everything to these kids these days. So, I mean, you just take away their cell phone and the laptops, electronics, and all that stuff, and they pretty much fall in line. That's enough punishment in most cases. I will say this, though. I have been pretty fortunate not to have kids that cause a whole lot of trouble. Like in school and stuff, girls are pretty well behaved for the most part. I do got one daughter, my middle daughter. I do have a 14-year-old daughter too, so I got one going to 10th grade, and then, like you said, the one that just graduated. But she probably got a lot of that talking in class from me, so I can't get too mad about it.
All right. Now we want to all our listeners and our viewers out there, we want to encourage you. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, we want to encourage you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We need to get those subscribers up. We want to get these subscribers up so we can build this audience up. And also, if you have time, we would love for you to follow us on Twitter. You can follow us at the RIP28 Podcast. Follow us on Twitter. We want to get those followers up. And our next segment, I want to leave our email address. Our email address is the RIP28podcast@gmail. RIP28podcast@gmail. And the reason I'm leaving that email address is because we've already started out. We got somebody emailed the question. We got another father who wanted to reach out to the dads, and he had a very interesting scenario. And we have a little, if you ever have any questions, anything you want us, any topics you want to discuss, feel free to email us and hit us on Twitter. But this young man hit us up, and he was saying He was saying, "Hey fellas, my daughter is 17 years old. She had a boyfriend. I'm gonna have to correct some of the English as we go along. she had a boyfriend, and they was dating for a while. I never really had much conversation with her because I thought it was just some puppy love kid stuff. Lo and behold, I caught homeboy sneaking out my house. I'm 17. I know what sneaking out my house means. I know what that means. So I'm kind of just real messed up in my head. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to respond. You know, I was a kid one time too, and I know you have sex, but I couldn't picture my daughter having sex. So what am I supposed to say to my baby girl? Now, this is a tricky situation because I don't know you fellas for a while, and a long time ago before y'all got married, long time ago before y'all got married, y'all was out there in these streets with somebody's daughter. Now that the tables have turned a little bit, and you guys got daughters, how do y'all approach that subject of sex and dealing with sex and like Chris Rock said, you know, the father's only job is to keep his daughter off the pole. You know, how do y'all work with that, man? Let's start the other way. Let's go with Chance this time. Chance, how you work with that, man?
All right, man. Good question by whoever that caller was, but you know, nobody wants to imagine their daughter having sex, but in the front end, I let my wife talk to him a lot about sex because, you know, she knows a lot more about, you know, birth control and doing stuff like that. I let her handle a lot of those conversations, but I do tell them I don't think they should do it. And that these days, you know, these boys is out there for one thing a lot of times. And I even told them back in the day, you know, how I was back in the day. And, you know, me being a college athlete and stuff like that, it kind of came a lot easier than it would for some people or whatever. So, you know, I probably did take advantage of that more than I should have. But I did want to let them know that, you know, it's not good. And you never want to be that dad that's so strict that they kind of rebel against you and try to do it in spite of you. You know what I mean? You know how they say, like, preacher's daughters are the first ones. Yeah.
I done known a couple of them in my lifetime.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I mean, that's the same. But, you know, you gotta give them some leeway, and, you know, people don't make mistakes and do their thing, but you can't, like, just X them out because they did something wrong. So there's a lot of communication.
All right, let's skip up to James because James, the next one getting real closest to that stage in life right there. How things work with you and Billy?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that we're talking about this because we were actually eating out yesterday, day before yesterday. And, you know, we like to have conversations with our kids, you know, to see where they hear that and stuff like that. So my daughter she actually brought it up about, you know, sex or whatever. And me being a father of a daughter, of course, I'm going to tell you all the bad stuff. I'm going to tell you, one of the first things I said to my daughter, which I don't, and she knows I don't condone it, and I told her, hey, ain't none of that's going to happen in my house. But I understand, you know, stuff happens. But one of the first things I said, well, you have a kid. I'm too young to be a granddaddy. And I ain't taking care of nobody's kid. But seriously, I mean, I understand, man. These kids nowadays, they grow up differently than we are. They are shown, I mean, through like videos and internet and everything like that. Sex is everywhere, and sex sells. So you can tell it in the clothes that they wear and in everything that they do now. I mean, to tell you the truth, I couldn't tell you what I would do. I would have to be in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
But
all right. I know it's tough, but man, let's move down to LeBron. LeBron, where would you go on that one?
Well, fortunately, My two daughters are not of age yet, so I teach them more about respecting themselves right now. You know, I let them know that certain spots nobody ought to touch, nobody ought to see. And I just try to make sure that they have respect for themselves right now, so that foundation has already been set. So once that comes, that time of their life comes, they'll be a lot more willing to come and talk to me about it. I don't want to scare them, so I just kind of teach them to respect themselves because they're so young and it really is not a part of their life yet.
Okay. Now let's throw it over to you, Juwan. You got the babies in the crew. You know, hopefully you praying every day that this is a conversation you won't have to have for a long time.
I'm already plotting, man. I already got my game plan in motion. And see, my game plan is this. Okay. Honestly, I want them to have a bar set so high that no guy's gonna be able to fulfill it. And I know girls like that. They fall and spend so much time with them. You know, I take it out. I take it out to Ruth Chris. You know, I want the bar to be set so high that the guy can be like, man, this is too much work. And so that's what I'm working on right now. But I think mostly because I kind of, you know, you learn your kids' personality. All the kids got different personalities. And I think there's only one kid that I probably got to worry about that. And so I try and spend more time with her because I know she kind of looks for attention more so than other kids. So that's because this is the way I take about it. And also I think my wife does a great job with them. And so just teaching them how to act like a woman, and things to do, and how to be young ladies and young females. And so you know, that's just the way I take it. But yeah, I'm not even trying to even think about that right now. And hopefully I never have to deal with that in my life. I honestly wish they could be like the ugly duckling in reverse. pretty, and become ugly like high school, college, and then later pretty again and get married. That's what I hope. That's what I wish, but I know it's not that, you know, so super.
Good luck, bro. Good luck with
that. Ugly don't mean a thing, bro.
as evident on this podcast.
Ugly don't mean a thing. Hey. You see, Cans and LeBron got kids, so that tell you. You can be ugly and something work out for you. Oh man. All right, man. Another thing I want to get to, you know, you see I'm wearing my Carolina Gamecock shirt right here. National champion Carolina Gamecocks. You know, we'll disregard this kid with that ugly Clemson shirt on. But, you know, we want to shout out to Dawn Staley and the job she's doing over there for USC women's basketball. And I want to lead into the fact that all of us are athletes. And then you got, you know, we all played in high school. Myself, LeBron, and Chance played in college. We're all pretty good high school athletes and college athletes. And how do you know, your athletic, you know, how do you translate, you know, your athletic desires onto your daughter? You know, how do you do that? Are you full speed ahead, or how do you push that to your children? Because I'm kind of curious. We'll start off with James, and the reason I say James, we'll start with James because James played football, but he has 3 daughters, and you know, hey, being honest with you, it's not for, at least for young girls. I don't know if it's full contact football leagues out there for young girls. So how do you push the athletic side to your daughters?
And the football leagues that we have, you don't want them playing in that. You seen what they be wearing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like strippers. But my daughters are in all 3 age ranges pretty much. I got a teenager. I got one that is 12, and then I have my teenager, 15-year-old, she runs track, and my 12-year-old, she throws shots with discus and everything. So with them, their mom is more the rah type of person. She's the one that's yelling at the track meets, doing everything like that. With me, I try to coach them up. You know what I'm saying? Because I know with some of these kids nowadays, they don't have that drive to be great. And I tell my daughter all the time, instead of sitting around, you can go run around the neighborhood. You could be out there practicing your shot put. You can be doing this, doing that. I ask them all the time, do you want to be great? Of course, they're going to say yes. But I said, well, to be great, you got to put in the work. It's all about the work. If you don't put in the work, you're never going to be great. So, I mean, that's how I do it.
All right, now let's move down. Let's move down to Chance. Now, Chance, a little bit about Chance's baby girl. I know at one time Cheyenne was a real big track star. As a matter of fact, Chance's wife was actually a track star at Memphis State, or Memphis University now. But Cheyenne at one time, Chance was she was big in the track, and I think your middle daughter actually set a couple of records at her school in Arkansas.
Oh yeah, both of my daughters actually set some records there. Before this coronavirus, my daughter broke the indoor 60-meter hurdle record this year. And I'm pretty proud of that. Thought this was gonna be a really good season, but it all got canceled. But I think the advantage for me is I was a basketball coach for about 8 years, so they was always in the gym, and they started working like wanting to be cheerleaders and stuff like that, and I highly discouraged it. But I wanted them to play sports, so they've been playing sports since they've been, itty bitty. And I try not to be overbearing and make them work out and make them hate it and stuff. So if they ever want to work on something, all they have to do is come and ask me, and I go out there and help. But I just try not to push it on them. And that's with any kid, girl or boy, but especially the girls. And then, as they get older, you know how middle school girls are and stuff like that. They think they know everything. Like I can call LeBron and tell LeBron to go tell him something, and they'll listen to it. But if I tell them the same thing, they be like, Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. You can't play. You know what I mean? I was like, man, I kind of know what I'm doing. No, I'm never going to tell you nothing wrong. But, you kind of got to get some help from outside influences, because they are more apt to listen to people that's on the outside than you sometimes. So you kind of got to use the reverse psychology a little bit. But my girls are pretty good athletes. My middle one, I got a good feeling she'll probably play D1 basketball somewhere. She's played on varsity this year in the 9th grade, and out there doing her thing. So I'm proud of them. I'm not like I said, I don't push them right now. And we're in a small town, so they practice like all year round. So I don't have to do very much after they got the school age ball.
All right, now how about you, Juwan? Now I think your daughters are all young elementary school and pre-elementary school. So is sports even a thing in your house yet?
Sports already eating at my pockets, man. I got 2 daughters doing gymnastics. And
Okay.
so yeah, one's on team, and so we travel and she competes and stuff like that. But yeah, we don't push them. We had all of them at gymnastics at one point. My oldest, she wasn't driven like my middle and youngest, and so she wanted to quit. Because gymnastics is a lot of work. And those girls practice like 3 days. Well, my middle was practice like 3 days a week, and so but yeah, they enjoy it, man. I gotta send y'all a video of I don't know half the names. I don't know how to score the thing. I need to learn, because this is totally outside my league. I'm looking at my wife like, did she do good? I gotta wait for the score. So, but yeah, I gotta send y'all a video. She did the skill. I swear, man, she's strong. She lift her little body up and then go into this little. Yeah, she's strong. But yeah, so as far as sports, do it if you enjoy it. I think it teaches them good discipline, and then later on, if they want to continue it, they can continue it. If they don't, let's save me some money. I ain't paying attention anymore. The bill anymore. But at the end of the day, they might transition and find something else they like to do.
Gotcha. Now Now I kind of saved LeBron for last. I saved LeBron for last because LeBron is actually a varsity coach of girls. LeBron not only does, he has two daughters, he also in charge of coaching a bunch of girls as the varsity basketball coach. So how do you go about that with your girls, LeBron?
It is definitely a delicate situation, man. They're so emotional. The way we were coached back in the day with Coach Mack and some of our coaches, they didn't spare your feelings. They didn't really care if you were mad or how you felt. But working with girls, I have to take in account my approach. My first year working with them, I was very hard. I talked to them hard. I ran them hard, but I didn't produce many wins. So I had to fall back in the off season, find out, my softer side. You see me with the pink sweater, trying to have a soft side too, and understand their feelings more, and just really not softening what I say, but it's not what I say, but how I say it to them. I have to present it in a way that it doesn't come off as being harsh and being very demanding. But girls are very hard workers. Once you gain their trust and they understand your system, they go very hard for you. So I've enjoyed coaching them, and I've learned a lot, not only about coaching females, but about myself as well.
Okay, good
He been
stuff.
soft.
What'd you say, Chan?
I said he been soft though, so he ain't have to go real far to find it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he always been kind of soft, so he ain't have to dig too deep to
I'm
find
just messing with you, bro.
that soft side. All right, man. I appreciate the knowledge, brother. The knowledge we getting right now. And like I say, me myself, I just had the one son, and I think I'm done with having kids. But sometimes when I see the interaction of you guys with your daughters, it make me kind of jealous. Make me kind of jealous because hey, I got my boy rough and tumble as they come. So he to that age. He don't want me hugging on him. He don't want me hugging on him. He just trying to go out and be rough and tumble. So yeah, it's good getting that different look. Now advice. I want to ask you guys, man, what advice can you give to the brothers? Because now what a lot of our listeners and our viewers don't know, if you notice every week we'll kind of change up the cast of who's going to be on the RIP 28 podcast. We got a bunch of different, we got about 8 of us that we've known for a long time in our life. And so we're going to rotate in and out for the podcast. And, for different subjects, we'll bring in different expertise out of us. Now, we got a brother in our crew, Andre. Now, Dre just had a baby girl, less than a year old, beautiful little baby girl. So what advice would you give to fathers, who just had that girl? What advice would you give them raising daughters? Let's start out over here with James. James up top.
Patient. Be patient. And one thing is always tell them that they look beautiful. Because she loves when her daddy tells her she looks pretty, beautiful, or whatever. And if you feel that in her, when she gets older, and she finds her a man, she's going to expect the same thing. So just continue to do that.
Okay. Let's move on over to Chance. Chance, what about you?
Just always show them love, man. Don't be too strict and disciplinary because that can backfire you on time. Like, just keep that line of communication open, and where they can come and talk to you about anything instead of going to somebody else that they don't need to be talking to and talk to. So that's the most important thing to me.
All right, let's move over there to Juwan. Where you at, Juwan?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. I couldn't find the unmute button. But no, I think all the guys have said great things. And I agree wholeheartedly with all those things. And just me, I would just add, just mind how you talk to them, because everyone, you could say one thing one way to one daughter and say that same exact thing to another daughter.
Uh-oh, I think Juwan dipped out. He said the wrong thing, I guess. Hello, everybody froze up on me? Oh, not quite sure what's going on right now, but I think Juwan was saying, you know, you want to make sure you talk to him right. You say the right thing to him. Well, we just about ran out of time, so I'm glad we kind of.
That's all I got.
Yeah, you know, cookie cutter approach, man. It's learning every day, growing every day. Just like they are, you got to grow with them and learn with them.
There you go.
All right, LeBron. Now, I'm not quite sure what happened. I thought I died out on my end. I was closing off the show, and y'all was still going. Everything was still going over there with y'all?
Yeah, everything was still going.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, it's all good then. Might have been me messing up. All right, LeBron, what about you?
I'm going to piggyback off of what Juwan said. It's not what you say sometimes, but how you say it. Present it to them as you would want someone to present it, information or their feelings to your mother or sister, your wife, girlfriend, or whatever, man. You know, they're emotional. And just mind how you talk to them and show them what they should be expecting from other guys and teach them now. And like Juwan said, set that standard high, man. Don't let some guy just come creeping in there and now you stuck with some sorry son-in-law like Sly. And now you gotta smile. But no, man, just show them what to expect out in the world. Set that standard high, and be consistent. Be consistent.
There don't want no slides.
No slides. There are no slides in my household.
At least they have a good looking son-in-law. At least they'll be good looking.
Are we talking about Faison Love Jr.?
Oh my goodness, my goodness.
Hey, our grandkid gonna be a 5'8" defensive end.
but he'll be the best that ever did it.
But his nickname would be the Ice Cube.
And that's 5'10" and a half. Let's get that right. Let's get that right.
Standing on the scoop.
All right, man, fellas, man. I appreciate you guys joining me on the RIP 28 podcast, man. Like I said, man, it's just a spot. The RIP 28 podcast is just a spot where a few brothers who've known each other for a long time can come and sit down and talk. We go and exchange ideas, man. We go and talk about what's going on in our world, what's going on in the world, man. It's just a RIP 28 podcast, a spot where some brothers can get together and speak in a safe zone. We might say something you like, we might say something you don't like, but we're going to keep on saying whatever it is that needs to be said. That's the RIP 28 podcast. Fellas, got anything to say?
I love y'all guys, man. Just keep it grinding.
Hey, keep it up, fellas. I like where we headed. Everybody that's listening, watching, whatever, hit that subscribe button if you want some good information on a great podcast. Love y'all, fellas.
You know.
All right. We'll see you next time on the RIP 28 podcast.